Good evening all and welcome to round one of the 2013 GPVWC Supercup Championship. We are currently in the qualifying session at the moment, where we are just seeing the first times come through. It's Villa Lapala that's currently on pole position with a 31.6. Joining myself, Nick Rowland, in the commentary box tonight is Mr. Tom Parker.
Hello, Nick.
Hello, Tom. Good evening. It's good to be commentating with you. And it's been a long winter for us, but are you looking forward to the Supercup season?
Hello everyone. It has been a very long winter, one that we've all been very eager to get back to racing, but here we are, and Supercup season, it's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? We've got, I think a lot of people are expecting James Shepherd to run away with it, but anything can happen, can it?
Most definitely, after what we saw last season as well, and the competitiveness level throughout the season in some respects, not all the way through, but we saw some good battles between obviously Alex Cooper and Pedro Casa, and Pedro actually comes in now with his own team into Supercup. He's got Target Racing, and with Villa Lapala currently sitting on pole position as well with a 31.6, and his teammate is one of the newcomers to Supercup in Sindre Grimseth. As you already alluded to, most people think that CSG the team to beat, but do you think Target are the ones that will be the main rivals to them, Tom?
As for rivals, yes. We all know Lepala, he's come from FSR, he's very quick. Grismeth, we don't know too much about, he's very new, not many people know much about him, but in terms of rivals of CSG, Target Racing, I think they're the only ones who are going to get close to them. But yeah, CSG and Target, probably the top two, I'd say, early on in the season, but I mean, we've got a long way to go. We finish in November, don't we? So lots of time to find out.
Yeah, absolutely. There's 10 minutes left in this qualifying session, so we'll just wait to see the fast time start to filter through. But in the meantime, we've obviously got some new features for this season. We're running RFE, so we get to see the weather this season. This is going to be probably the most spiced up season we're going to ever have, I would have thought, with the implementation of the rain. Also, thanks to RFE, we also have the different colour compound tyres. So you'll actually be able to see the colours change on the tyre compounds themselves whenever they make a stop. So, for example, Prime's currently on the James Shepherd's currently on the Primes, which is yellow, and then the reds are the options for the fastest tyres currently. Also, and then there's also the blue for the wet compound as well. So you'll probably see those at some point as rain is predicted for this race. Tom, so what do you think it will happen when the rain does come? Everyone thinks that Shepherd's still strong in the wet as well, but anything can happen really.
Yeah, I mean, no one's ever raced with rain before in our factory, have they? And none of the people I know anyway, so it's very interesting. And what we saw in FC yesterday, when it was raining, it rained for about 2 minutes and then just went straight away, so it wasn't even worth going on the wet. But should that happen tonight, obviously with one long race rather than two shorter races, it could be more of a risk. I mean, we saw, I think, 2 people change onto wets yesterday, and it really was the wrong decision, but it's going to be close, isn't it? I mean, there's a cusp when it's about 20% wet that Dugong dries, Dugong wets. It's quite close, but it's an unknown for everyone, really, so we don't really know who's quick, who's slow. I mean, like you said, James Shepherd looks strong in the wet. I think I've heard rumours that he's made a stop that's actually more wet-based rather than dry, so that when it does rain, he's got even more of an advantage as he goes on to pole, actually, with 1:31.3, just ahead of Ryan Walker. So, yeah, James Shepherd really is one to watch when it does rain, but it'll be interesting to see how everyone else does, really.
Yeah, it would appear that high downforce is working for James at the moment, though. He's just on that 31.319, which puts him a tenth and a half quicker than Ryan Walker for Satellite Racing, which is another new team into Supercup. They've come from a background of endurance racing mostly. This is run by Matt Strand, and it's Ryan Walker that currently is leading the way for Satellite Racing, and I believe it's David Nichols who's the second driver. But yeah, there's been a lot of changes throughout the winter season in many ways, and as Tom was alluding to before about the wet conditions last night, it was quite interesting to see for those that did go onto the wet tyres and those that gambled and just played it safe or tried to stay safe on the slick tyres. Due to the amount of cars that were on the track, it actually dried up quite quickly. Now we've got a significantly less amount of cars tonight, so we may see more people opting for the wet compound over the staying on the dry tyres. And obviously it's a longer race as well. It's just a one race rather than the 2 from last night, and it's 37 laps. So it's going to be very much tactical this season, and it's going to be across all 3 categories, which I think is one of the strongest components of GPVWC this season. And Tom, I think you've seen that firsthand last night especially.
Yeah, the rain's certainly a big factor this season. But what you were saying earlier about the cars drying up, what I noticed last night as well, where the cars were overtaking each other a lot, offline it was getting dry as well. Whilst, like I said earlier, if the cars here, less grid, less cars, therefore, will it be dry offline as well? Should someone make an overtake and it's wet offline still, they might just go sailing on. So it'll be very important to stay on the dry line when it does form. I mean, that's one of the best things about RFE, that a dry line does form. It's not just the whole track dries, it's just one racing line. So it's going to be interesting if James Shepherd just smashes his time of 1:30.3, whilst interestingly still on prime. So
yeah,
really,
I was just going to jump in there with what you said, because the cloud cover seems to be coming as well. They're getting darker and darker out there. But James Shepherd, I think he's actually running a stint on the primes at the moment. He just absolutely smashed his time. He's now 1.1 second quicker than anyone else, and he's on the harder compound. He's on the prime compound at the moment as well. So 30.345 plays what Ryan Walker's on with a 31.460. So completely blowing him out the water, and on the hardest compound. So if James is really looking to use that downforce that he's expecting when the rain comes, and it's working for him at the moment.
Certainly is, yeah. And Ryan, I saw earlier, was on the options, so the fact that he's got a 1.1
still
second
is
gap.
as well. Sorry, Tom, but he still is. He's on track at the moment, and he's still on the option compound.
Yeah, it does. That just shows the advantage James has got. He's. I mean, a lot of people are going to argue he's going to be in Super League, but I'm not sure if his. I think his real life gets in the way of him being able to compete. So obviously he can't. So, but it is a ridiculous advantage. I think everyone else out there is on options, and the fact he's got a 1.1 second gap on the harder tyre, like you said, is just amazing, really.
Absolutely. Just on that point for James, obviously James he's test drove for my team Midnight Motorsport and racing for CSG. He decided to come back to Midnight, and he actually chose to drop down into the Supercup. I'm sure if Super League were to offer him a big enough drive, he'd probably take it, but it's actually a decision he took, and he wants to drive in Supercup and be test driver. So it's going to be interesting to see how James races up against his teammate in Roy Schroten, because Roy's obviously joined CSG now as well, and I think that's going to be a very interesting pairing, especially up against the two Target boys. And we may see a few shots. I mean, Scott Bennett, for example, is having a great run already. He's up to 4th place for Innovision. Yeah,
that is a good shot. Actually, both the Innovisions are doing very well. 4th and 6th, Pavel Ignovsky and Scott Bennett racing for them. Yeah, Pavel's another one who's dropped down from Super League. A lot of people are expecting he had a bit of a poor season. Not all probably his fault, but yeah, as we see, Jordan Weeks got to 4th. But yeah, Pavel, he dropped down from Super League and come back to Supercup, where obviously 2011 he was one of the championship contenders. So we know the speed's there. I think he just needs a bit more confidence, and he does seem to be doing a good job today. He's in 6th as it stands. But going back to Roy...
sorry, James has gone even quicker. He's just on a 29.8, 1.6 seconds quicker now. He's absolutely obliterated the field there.
Still on primes.
1.621 seconds, still dry. The clouds are definitely coming in though. It's getting darker out there, and he's still on the prime tyre.
Yeah, what I was going to say earlier, actually, before he started going ridiculously quick, he's only about middling in 1:33. So I was wondering if he's going to start on the primes and then do strategy that way. So he gets to go on the softer tyre later on in the race, so he gets even more of an advantage. But I don't think it really matters anymore, does it? I think.
Well, I just noticed what his tactic is to slow down, stop, let the tyres cool down, and then go again. So that's what he's doing. But he's keeping on those tyres, and he seems to be happy with them at the moment as well. Just to run through some of the other teams that we were seeing, Jordan Weeks, who a lot of people were surprised that just it just started raining.
Yes, it has started raining.
Yeah, so you've got 2 minutes 55 seconds left in qualifying, and it's just started raining. So I don't think we're going to see any improvements here, but that is an excellent time. If James has done 1.6 seconds quicker, knowing that the rain was coming, that's getting heavier and heavier. We have the rain already in Supercup season. We are seeing the rain conditions emerge, and it's in qualifying.
It is, and it's 5% wet, so it'll take some time to dry out. So I think that is pretty much it, really, unless someone can find some pace. But
yeah, and just as the rain comes in, we're on board with Ryan Walker here, and he's really struggling through the high speed left, right.
Yeah, look at that
chicane on the back part of the track, and he's understeering quite heavily now. Just before, it's getting heavier and heavier. So we got. It was Jordan Weeks as the one I was referring to. He's gone very well in Super League testing. He's now in the Multiforce car, and he slots into 4th position with a 32.0. So that's a great run for Jordan Weeks there, with Scott Bennett being pushed down to 5th, but it's a 5th, 6th for Innovision. Sindri Gunseth for Target was pushed down to 7th, and Martin O'Connor for PPD Motorsport is 7th. And then Patrick Gatewood for Multiforce. The second Multiforce car is 9th, with Mark Wixie dropping. Wixie decided to drop down from Super League to Super Cup, and he's for Street Fighter, and he's in 10th. So a lot of people were slightly surprised by that move. Tom, what do you reckon to Wixie dropping down?
I think it's a very noble move what he's done. He's thought, okay, I didn't perform in Super League last season as well as I've liked. I'm going to give 2 new drivers a chance, and that it probably is very noble. I think I'll take my hat off to Mark Wicks for doing that. It's very, very noble of him to do it. But I mean, he's been looking very quick in pre-season testing. I mean, when he did that run in Valencia when he couldn't find a driver, he was one of the quickest people. I think it was the quickest Colonel out there. So if Wixie does get it right, he's got some pace in him, so he could be a dark horse this season.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. Ryan Walker is still out on track. There's a few cars still out on track there, but the spray's coming up from the back of the cars and lines are starting to appear on the track, so it indicates just how wet it's got out there already. And they're trying to create some sort of drying line, but of course these guys are all on slicks at the moment still, so this is an interesting run for the last 40 seconds. I think they're all just getting used to the wet conditions as it just tips it down with rain right at the end of the session. So we've got to say hats off to James Shepherd. He put some fuel in the car. He went on the prime tyres and basically just did a run to see if he could get the fastest time and not worry about the option tyre too much and the lower fuel. And he burnt it down and he's 1.6 seconds quicker. And we've got to point out as well is that everyone was in the same conditions at that point as well. You know, this is not James Shepherd just blitzing up. Everyone was in the exact same conditions and he's gone 1.6 seconds clear of the field. Only down to 10th place. It's 3.3 seconds. So that CSG car is really working well for him.
Yeah, he has got that CSG working well. Roy Schroeder is quite a bit down the field. I'm not sure if he's had a bit of a problem. He's only in 15th place.
Yeah, 4.1 on his teammate.
Although
that's quite a lot.
He is on the prime tyres as well. So maybe CSG are going a different way with strategy than most of the rest of the field.
Yeah, we'll just look at scanning through the field. I believe it also Dimitri Demilister is also on. No, he's not actually. He switched back, so he's gone onto the option tyre. So there's a few drivers here that have opted for the primes over the options. So see how far they can actually go into the race when it comes about. But yeah. Pole position as the rain dampens Melbourne circuit is James Shepherd of CSG Racing with a 129.838. Ryan Walker for Satellite is a 131.460. Villa Pala for Target Racing, their first race in Super Cup, is a 131.549, just a 10th behind Ryan Walker. Jordan Weeks for Multiforce, 132.0. And we've got Scott Bennett. We've got both in divisions now. Scott Bennett, Pavel Loknovsky. 3/10 split those two, 32.1 to 32.4. 32.5 for the second type car of Sindri Gunseth. Martin O'Connor, PPD Motorsport, 132.564 with Patrick Gatewood at 133.662. And then Wixie with a 133.218 rounding out the top 10. So it's quite close actually when you get beyond those top 3. Then, so there's 3 groups. James Shepherd on his own, Ryan Walker and Villa Pal, and then Jordan Weeks and the rest. So it's going to be an interesting race to see how this comes about now.
Yeah, I mean, James obviously miles ahead of the rest, but after that, it is actually relatively close. So we could see some good racing here tonight. I mean, like you said, I mean, 3 distinct groups there. Ryan, Ville, Pala on their own, really, as well, aren't they? Half a second ahead of Jordan. But I'm surprised at Jordan, actually. I thought Jordan would be a bit quicker. He's been very quick, as you said, in pre-season testing, but he's only slotted in 4th. I think he might be a little bit disappointed with that, but I mean, we'll see how when it comes to the race. I mean, some people better in qualifying, some people better in race. It's just how they go, really, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely, and so we're walking into a lot of unpredictability here as well because we really don't know how Super Cup will shake up because there has been a heck of a lot of changes that have happened in terms of teams and drivers. I'll just try and give you a rundown of everyone that's in the teams as we just go into the warm-up session. It's CSG's James Shepherd and Roy Schroeder. Multiforce is Jordan Weeks and Patrick Gatewood. Innovision is Pavel Loknovsky, who's dropped back from Super League into Super Cup with Scott Bennett. PP Dynamic is Martin O'Connor, Andrei Pestovs. Scuderia Basilea is Martin Bulgin and Yanni Vananen. PB Racing is Ben Warren and Will Tringus. Now, I believe both of them have got test drive roles in Super League, or Ben has, I think. FA Racing is Nico DeConnick and Vinno Modley. And Street Fighter is Mark Wicks and Dale Stones. Fox Racing is Dimitri Demumeister and Andrei Vatters. Vod Bull, they've returned actually. That's one thing, Tom, is that Vod Bull have returned and they are in Super Cup. So that's quite a big return for Vod Bull.
Yeah, they actually, it was a very last minute thing. Alan GP pulled out at the very last minute. I think Vod Bull actually got accepted I think earlier this week actually, Monday or Sunday. So
yeah, I think
they
it's
haven't
very
had much
late entry. Very late entry.
Yeah, so they haven't exactly had much time to prepare, and as you can see, they're quite far down the grid. But it's not. 17th from Morton Venison. He was the one who it was actually a condition for the teams applying for Super Cup. They had to have Morton in their team. So Morton obviously is a bit more prepared, and he's 17th. But the team have had really little to no introduction, have they? It's been
absolutely
sort of a make or break. Do what you like. You've got 3 days to prepare.
Yeah, Vod Bull are really, really underprepared, and they've come into this with mere days of testing, which with Dan Russo and Morton Vernison, unlike many of these other teams, we'll move on to Satellite Race now, which is David Nichols and Ryan Walker. Centurion Racing is George Davakos and Ihab Abbas. And finally, Target Racing, which is Petr Kasa's new team, Sindre Gunseth and Ville Lapala. Now, Ville Lapala, most people would have seen he's come from FSR fame, and it moved over to GPVWC into Super Cup. And that field there alone, the drivers we've just gone through, it's a very, very competitive field. Even though we've just seen that differing time with James Shepherd, with the drivers they've got there, it's quite a balanced and very competitive field all throughout.
Yeah, there's going to be a battle for everyone, isn't there? There's going to be a battle at the front, there'll be a battle in the midfield, there'll be a battle at the back. There'll be someone for everyone to race this year. A bit like Formula Challenge last night, everyone was racing someone throughout the race. So we can't really have a boring race, I don't think, this season. Look at the cloud. It's gone straight from sunny at the start of the session to, I think it's actually raining again. So the cloud movement here, which is, I think it's predicted for high, is certainly making its mark. That's going to be very interesting to watch throughout the race.
Yeah, well, Melbourne is renowned to have 4 seasons in a day. That is one of the classic sayings for Melbourne, is the fact that you can have 4 seasons in one day. The weather that they have down in that part of the world is very changeable, and it's very apparent with the way the weather system's moving about at the moment. And in this warm-up session, it's getting darker out there once again. But we saw this in qualifying as well, where it just started to spit with rain, as the drivers now just readjust themselves to the race fuel levels and get used to the track. And also the starts, obviously, as well. Starts, like Super League, will be clutch starts. No launch control on these cars. It's all done by the clutch and the driver ability. And so, as we saw yesterday in the Formula Challenge second race, it can have quite a bit of chaos involved in it.
Yeah, I think there was about 10 cars involved right at the back. It made for some fun viewing for us watching the broadcast, I must say. But Super Cup obviously drives a little bit better. There's a lot less of a field, remember, so it shouldn't be too bad. The start, I'm expecting quite a clean start until we get to turn 1, of course. That's the mayhem usually begins. Oh, they were saying that yesterday in Formula Challenge, turn 1 was actually very clean in both starts, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Formula Challenge actually through turn 1 was relatively clean. It was more turn 3 that seemed to have the problems. A lot of people went off into the gravel trap on the outside of turn 3. And that caused a lot of chaos. Other than the start line incident and then turn 3, they were the main ones where it's renowned to be turn 1. But no, most people were safe, and then just decided to barrel into turn 3. So hopefully we get some cleaner drive. Like you said, there's less cars as well, so there should be the promise of a cleaner start, as there is still about 5 minutes left in the warm-up session.
Yeah, but I think it's got a little bit brighter out there. Going back to the weather change, I was testing Super League a couple of days ago, and literally you go from one corner, it'd be dark as hell, and then you go to like 2 corners later, it'd be bright sun. So you could literally, you can't predict the weather for this race, can you? It's we've got an average chance of rain, so that's 40% to 60%. I put that on top of R factor randomization. It's more likely to be about 50%. So it's anyone's guess, this race, isn't it? You can't tell if it's going to be wet or dry.
Absolutely, you really cannot call it at this current point, and especially if it moves to wet conditions at the very start of the race as well. That's going to be a very tricky start, as a lot of drivers are actually practicing their starts at the moment, just trying to understand where the clutch point is. But just for those that have joined us late to the or just in warm up for the broadcast, there's obviously the tyres will be used are the red and yellow ones, which are the options and the primes, and you will see them change. Just to remind everyone, we are on the RFE, so you will see those tyres change, and so we look forward to that come the race in 5 minutes. Okay, now we will just show a track video of this Melbourne circuit. Okay, you join us back in the warm-up session with about 1 minute 50 to go. It's Villa Lapallet's currently fastest in the warm-up session on a 1:32.0. 1.8 quicker than Patrick Gatewood. He's the second place man currently for Malta Force. So, Tom, we're seeing very extravagant times again and differences between the drivers, even just in warm-up.
Yeah, but obviously more we don't know the fuel load. Some might be testing a long stint, some might be going a little bit lighter. It's hard to tell, isn't it, really, from the commentary box. But the fastest person who's on the prime tyre doing some testing is Morten Venison and Navad Bull, who's on a 35.5. The top four are all on options from what I can see. So if we just say Ben and Morten were at a similar pace, 34, 35, 1.5 difference. I don't think the tyre difference is that extreme, but we don't really know what the gap is between the options and prime. So when that strategy does come into play, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in terms of relative time, especially when like stops have been made and it gets towards the end of the race. Do we go on to primes? Do we go on to softs, try and extend the stint, or do we just want to go for full speed as we get to the end? It's a hard choice, really.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to think of that crossover point. If it is wet coming back onto the dries as well, do you go for the harder compound and try and get to the end, depending on how many laps is left? Or do you try and go for that raw speed and get the heat into tyres straight away with the option tyres? So it's quite a fine balancing act. And this tactical element that has been thrown in to the GPVWC across all three leagues will now allow everyone to learn and teach them how to drive in these wet conditions, which I think is very good, the fact it's been put across all three categories as well, because it will allow the newer guys that are coming into Formula Challenge to really learn and experience it, but it also puts them in the shop window then for next year that there might be a bit of a specialist wet driver.
Yeah, I mean, next season, obviously, a very, very long way away. They've got another year to do first before we get there. But RFE, I think, is a brilliant little plugin. I think we, as a league, are very lucky to have got permission to use it, and I think it really can make the races a lot more exciting. I mean, last season was one of the most exciting seasons of all time, really, wasn't it? And now we've got this implemented along with some other new features. It's going to be a brilliant season. I can't wait for it to kick off as we are advancing to the race now.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel.
Absolutely, we'll move to the race now, and we'll read down the drivers as soon as we're all sorted out with the grid. But it's going to be an intense battle throughout this season. Obviously, we saw through the categories last season how intense it was, especially up in Super League towards the end of the season as well. No one thought it would actually last the Super League season, but Mr. Dave Carr-Smith turned that around, and it turned into quite an epic battle towards the end of the season. And now we start the 2013 season in Supercup with hopefully the same promise.
Yeah, we've also got to remember Supercup also towards the end of the season. The Alex Cooper really made things interesting as they get off one way on the formation lap. Alex Cooper, I mean, started the season, didn't he? He started off not so well, but then he came on really well, especially during mid-season, on 5-6 races in a row. So anything can happen. I mean, it's not over until it's over.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex would never got dialed into the mod straight away, but as soon as he had done, he was one of the quickest people in it, and it might happen here. We come to Australia, but obviously Australia's a bit of an anomaly, simply for the fact that it's a street circuit and it's the first race of the year, so you can't really gauge or get any sort of understanding where people are, because it's quite unique. The walls do come in close. It's not a Monaco, it's a very fast circuit still, in comparison to what Monaco is, but it's still a street circuit, and it's quite a high challenge. So, you know, with the times we're seeing, it may change and differ come the next round in Malaysia.
Also coming is the clouds. It's got a lot cloudier on the formation.
I've just noticed that myself as well. Yes, we are seeing the cloud cover already roll in. So I wonder if people will gamble and actually dive into the pit lane straight away. But James Shepherd is the man leading them round, with Ryan Walker in second place. Vila Lapala is in third, with Jordan Weeks fourth. Scott Bennett's fifth, with Pavel Oknowski sixth. We've got Grimseth in 7th place with O'Connor in 8th, Gatewood 9th, Mark Wicks is 10th, Dimitri Demulemister is in 11th, and Dale Stones is 12th, and Mr. Parker will take you through the rest of the field.
Yeah, in 13th place we've got Ben Warren for PB Racing and Vinod Moodley in 14th, Roy Schroten in 15th with Ehab Abbas in 16th place, Morton Vernison is in 17th with Andres Waters in 18th, Andres Pestov is in 19th with Nico DeConic in 20th, William Tringas and Dan Rusu are 21st and 22nd. Martin Bolgin and David Nichols 23rd and 24th. And on the final row of the grid, we've got George Davkos and Yanni Vaninen to round off your grid.
Oh, and just as that happens, it looks like Davkos just had a bit of a moment and spun. And I think he sorted himself out now. Oh, sorry, it's Dan Rusu actually had the moment there. Dan Rusu, 22nd place, had a bit of a moment.
Oh, yeah.
He stalled it. He's getting going again now, but
quite a way back.
I think he pinged the inside of the curb, and he's damaged the car. In fact, I think he's got a puncture possibly. So he's got some damage to the car there. Oh yeah, and he's hit the wall. The wheel's gone.
He's going to have to start from the pit lane.
Yeah, that's horrible for Dan Rusu there. He's going to have to exit out by the looks of it.
Yeah, but just as the car's at the back of the field.
Oh, there's another car. Nico Dokonyik's in the wall as well on the grid, in 20th position. So a few drivers are already struggling, and I've just seen a few lights flicker on as well, so we may see straight away the wet tyres, but at the moment we're just waiting because Dan Rusu is currently sitting around the other side of the circuit.
Does he know he's got to escape?
I'm not too sure, but the drivers are sitting on the grid and the tyres are getting colder and colder.
Oh, he's walked onto the grid for me.
There we go.
Yeah, the lights are on.
The lights are on, and it's Jamie Shepherd from pole position.
Oh,
he stalled!
He's had an awful start. Oh,
James has not moved at all! James is completely stalled, he's not moved whatsoever, that's incredible!
Look at that, I think only 5 cars have got through.
Yeah, I think
there's
been a slight moment there, and he's not moved whatsoever, and Grimseth's in the lead. I didn't even see him take the lead, but he's come from about 7th to take the lead. Grimseth leads, and the Lapala's second, and it's a target 1-2 currently. Oh, he's gone off, they've both gone off, so I think the track's getting a little bit damp out there. So Grimseth's gone off. Jordan Weeks now moves up to 2nd place. Martin O'Connor's up to 3rd. Ryan Walker's in 4th. Grimseth's dropping back through as Wixie's up to 5th. What a start! What an absolute dynamite start for Mark Wicks there. Grimseth.
Roy Schroten in 12th has just gone through the first corner, so Yeah, we've got, 10, I think 10 cars out already. Yeah, like I said, Roy Schroeten's only just got through the first corner and he's in 12th place, so yeah, that's definitely...
Race director Chris Williamson has called a restart there. We had a slight moment, I'm not too sure what's happened there, but the restart has been called. That was quite insane. We didn't see anything from James Shepherd at all. Looks like the car just completely stopped. The revs were up and then it just completely died on him, and that was it.
Yeah, it looks like maybe a game crash or something. That was very weird. It's not like James is just stand there, is it? It's extremely weird.
Okay, well, we had a moment in the former challenge, but that was quite insane what we just seen with the start of that race. Hopefully, we'll get this resolved, and the admins are just sorting out at the moment. But it was a great start there for Mark Wicks, though. He went from about 10th, 11th up to 5th. That was it was 14 cars in total DNF'd at the start there, so it was quite eventful start.
That is, yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that. I thought my accident at Super League last year in Spain was amazing, but that's completely smashed it out of the water.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll be able to resolve the issues and then we'll be able to get going again. But yeah, I think that all bottleneck because James Shepherd from pole position, his car either stalled, he just didn't move, and there's nothing come from his car at all. And as soon as he'd stalled, everyone went to the right hand side. The people that couldn't see him pulled into the back. It caused an accordion effect.
I wonder if Scott Bennett's just made a good point. I wonder if everyone, because of where Rusu was at the back, just like trying to escape. I wonder if James Shepherd's engine maybe died. Maybe the engine just blew up and he couldn't have anywhere to go. Might have a lot of interesting theory there.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, Dan Rusu was sitting at the back of the track after he'd spun, hit the wall, and taken the rear right tyre off, I believe. But there was nothing. Nothing more came of that, and then the lights went out, but there was just no movement from Shepherd at all.
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, everyone else managed to get away fine, so it might have just been a problem with James's game, or we don't really know. O'Connor's left the game, we're just waiting for him to come back before we kick off again. So it's been an exciting start to the season, let's say.
Absolutely. That was... we'll just have to... we're just waiting to see what the admin... So just bear with us a moment. We'll just take a pause here while we just sort of get the admin to sort out the rest of the grid, and hopefully we'll be underway again.
Yep, O'Connor's just rejoined, so it looks like we'll be good to go as soon as they've sorted the grid out. Yep, looks like we're just going now.
Attention grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
Okay, so we are moved now to the race session once again, so hopefully for the second time we'll be able to get this race underway. And it looked like there was some sort of time delay after Dan Rusu's incident and to the start of the race, which affected some of the engines throughout the field. I think it was some 40 seconds it was total, and that caused a lot of issues, so hopefully we won't have any spinners this time on the grid.
Yeah, well, I think Dan Rusu might be taking a leaf out of David Junk's book there with some of the formation laps, but yeah, but hopefully there'll be nothing wrong this time when James Shepherd pulls away from his grid slot.
Well, that's promising that James Shepherd's pulled away, so there was no lag involved there for sure, so he's pulled away from the field already, and Ryan Walker is tucked up now behind him, so we'll try and rerun through the field again just for you. I know we've only just done it, but get an idea of the grid once again. So James Shepherd, CSG on pole position with Ryan Walker in second. Bill LaPalla is third with Jordan Weeks fourth. Scott Bennett fifth. Pavel Lopnowski is in sixth place. And Grimsworth is in seventh place. With Martin O'Connor in eighth. Okay, looks like we're still having a few technical difficulties, so bear with us a moment and we'll be back with you shortly.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
Okay. Okay, you join us back. We're just waiting for the pitch to come back, but you should be able to hear us as the cars are going out on their formation lap once again. Okay, so we've got pitches once again, thankfully, as we will try and get this underway. It's a third time lucky anyway, as we have the cars filtering round this Melbourne circuit. James Shepherd from pole position, Ryan Walker second, Villa Pala third, Jordan Weeks in fourth, with Scott Bennett in fifth, Pavel Lotnowski sixth. We've got then Grimsworth for Target Racing in seventh place. Mon O'Connor is eighth, Patrick Gatewood ninth, Mark Wicks is in 10th, Drew Meester 11th, and Dale Stones in 12th, and Tom will take you through the rest of the field.
Yeah, we've got Ben Warren for PB Racing in 13th alongside Vinod Moodley in 14th. Roy Schroten in 15th with Ehab Abbas in 16th. 17th place is Morton Venison with Andres Waters in 18th. 19th place is Andres Pestos, who's actually just gone off the track there, but he's back on now safely. Nico DeConnick in 20th place with William Tringas in 21st. Dan Russo in 22nd, looks like he's got away fine this time, so it looks like his lag issue has been sorted. 23rd place is Martin Bolgin. David Nichols is in 24th, Satellite Racing, and the final row of the grid we have George Davakos and Yanni Vandenham.
Yep, as the cars are coming around on the formation lap, as we head towards the front of the field where James Shepherd is coming into turn 15.
And Jordan Weeks is in 4th place, has lagged out, so it looks like Jordan's having some troubles. He's still in the server.
Okay, hopefully the broadcast is still running, so just please bear with us while we just resolve these issues currently, and we'll be back with you shortly.
Attention grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
Okay, well, welcome back to the broadcast. Hopefully everything's going to run a little bit more smoothly now. Tom Parker is still with me, and thank you for Simon Melbush and his patience with the cameras as we're just counting down towards the race start now. Hopefully we'll get things underway. A few technical issues. I think it was actually related to the server lag side as opposed to the RFE side, but Tom, I think we're hoping to get underway again here.
Yep, and it looks like they've all pulled away smoothly. James Shepherd has pulled away from his grid slot, so if you want to go through the grid, Nicholas.